Well, what do we have here? Looks like a way to disguise a freezer in the middle of your living room. Gonna have to get the old lady to watch this one. Yeah.
Well, hello everybody. I'm a little tired today. My mail order medication hasn't come, so doing the best I can to stay awake. Anyway, let's continue with this. So this is the panel looking at the front of the freezer on the right hand side where the air vents were. So this is the longer of the two sides that I made because it wraps around the back by the island a little bit. So what I'm going to do, taking suggestions to use the machine edge toward the bottom, good idea. I'm going to just hem the one side that would be facing the front and then attach the Velcro along the top. So I'm just going to pin my side, run a quick seam along it to hem it. It does have some sort of like vinyl coating, and I don't really plan on washing it. If I did, it would probably be hand wash. So anyway, yeah, so I'm not real concerned about fraying right now. If it does fray, I got plenty of extra material to whatever. So I'm just gonna run a seam along here to hem this over and move from there. So let me see here. All right, some glasses. I left them all in the other room. Here's a pair. Okay. I'm not really measuring because I cut all of my pieces so big that I don't need to really worry about it. I'm just following the pattern to kind of make sure that it's even at least. Now some people will iron it to get a nice seam, but again, this is not, you know, my masterpiece. This is just something to cover my freezer. That one looks a little crooked. Let's see. There. All right. Now, I just keep this off to the side where my right hand is, so as I'm, well, I could keep it on a left too. So as I'm pulling out my pins, I can just stick them back in. It's just a little thing with a magnetic top. Cheap little things. Okay. All right, now, let's see here. I'm just going to use a straight stitch. You could, I suppose, use a zigzag stitch over the seam. I'm just trying to get this done. put my foot down, my presser foot. Now, I'm gonna reposition you, I think, so that you can see a little better what I'm doing. Okay, so as I was saying, there's different types of stitches. The zigzag stitch you would use to go zigzagging over the actual cut portion of the fabric to help keep it from fraying. I'm not going to do that because I'm feeling lazy today. So I'm going to just use a regular straight stitch. So this is my dial for changing what type of stitch I want. All right, so I've got it on A, which is straight down the middle. B is like an offset. This oval represents the hole down there, so that the needle would be jogged over to this side. This is a buttonhole feature. Never tried it. It scares me. But I'm going to just do straight A stitch. There's other stitches available. These over here, these are used for stretchy fabrics. They allow the stitching to stretch and retract along with the fabric. These are used for fabrics that don't really stretch, you know, stretchy fabric, like spandex, things like that. This up here is the tension. I read the instructions and it said typically you leave it at half, but for really heavy duty fabrics like 3/4, this seems pretty heavy duty. Again, being a newbie, I didn't even realize that this thing moved until I was cleaning it, what, a couple weeks ago. So again, I don't know what I'm doing. And then this is also another type of tension. I believe the thread, I'm not sure, but I usually just keep it like right there. I could read the instructions, but again, being lazy today. So we thread the machine on the last video, so it's all set to go. So I'm just going to set you up so you can kind of see what I'm doing. These are guides. They help you when you're putting it through to kind of keep your fabric straight, provided that you were really careful when you're pinned and everything. I usually eyeball it because, again, I'm a newbie and I'm a 95%er, so you know, I'll do it right 95% of the way. Oh, and then this button, this causes the machine to go backward. So when you begin a stitch, because it can unravel, you always go forward through the fabric, I don't know, probably 1/2 inch or so, and then you hold down this button and it pulls it backward again, so that you're basically going forward and back and forward, kind of locking in your stitch so it doesn't unravel on you. So you'll see me doing that too. You might not be able to see my hand doing it, but I do hold that down to back stitch to kind of hold my stitches secure. All right, let me get you back in place. Okay, just grab this, pull it backward, make sure that it doesn't get all bound up in there. And I am going to kind of go along the, let's see, as far as my guide goes, I'm going to just go with the 1/2 inch, the 4/8. It's going to give me plenty of room in case I cut crooked and I'm really screwing it up. Go in just a little ways from the fabric. You don't start at the end, the very end, just a little ways. There's a lever to bring down your foot, and then you twist the handle over on that side of the machine to lower the needle down into the fabric. You start with it already in the fabric. Okay, now I'm just going to pull this needle out right away because it's so close. I guess I'll just move it down here. And then, of course, if you've never sewn, the harder you push down on the pedal, down on the floor, just like a car, the harder you push, the faster it goes. So I start out pretty slow at the beginning because I'm going to do that backing up thing. Can you see that? Sure. Again, newbie, so I tend to slow down before pulling every needle. People who do this a lot, I'm sure they just keep going. And I back it up and forward. I go right off the end. Lift up my foot with the needle in the upward position, pull it out, and then there's a little thread cutter right here. You just slip it through there. Cuts it off. Okay. So I have my first hem. All right, now I'm not so concerned about hemming the back side of the freezer, so I'm not going to even worry about that. Next up is I'm going to apply the Velcro to the top edge. I bought, it doesn't want to stay focused. I bought a sew-on with the soft side, and then the hook side, or the scratchy one, has the double-sided adhesive that's going to get stuck to the freezer itself. So this is just no sticky adhesive. It's a sew-on Velcro. So with that, I am going to pin it on to the top edge. Probably leave just a little bit of room to make sure that I don't, because if I cut my fabric crooked, that I don't go wonky. So let me pin that in place. And again, I'm just trying to kind of follow that pattern to make sure I've got it straight. And I'm also trying to get it so you guys can see what I'm doing. But essentially what I could do is just go from one end to the other, cut it to length, and then pin. So let me get rid of these long tails from sewing. All right, let's see here. Good. Let's see here. Okay. I'm just going to start in the middle and work my way to the ends, I guess. Again, not an expert. Put my pins in. I'm just going to lay it out flat, see if it looks okay. Eyeballing it. Looks pretty good. Now with this, because it's so wide, I'm probably going to run a rectangular stitch all the way around. So it'll end up going all the way through the machine. Let's see, the best way of doing that, let's see here. I could go from one end down, end it, and then go a second time. Or if I wanted to try and continue, then you turn the whole fabric around and carry it through. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. What else? Crooked. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Now, because it's so long, I'm going to put a few more pins in. Seems okay. One more in here. And let's see. One more here. Now with running my pins the way I did this time, I should be able to just sew the whole thing without removing the pins. I could, or I could take them out. We'll see. We'll see what I do. I don't know, winging it. Let me see here. If I fold this over. Just trying to get it so it's small enough that it'll fit in here if I do decide I want to turn it around. Work. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Yeah, we'll just leave it open. Dithering, contemplating. All right. Okay. Lower the needle in. And I'm gonna go a little forward and back, forward. Yeah, getting kind of close to that needle. Get rid of it. Because again, I'm not being real careful. hand turn that. Now, when you're going to turn the fabric in the machine, you have the needle in the fabric. Get your foot off the pedal. You lift up the presser foot. Now, it's locked in because the needle's in the fabric. And then you turn your fabric. Now, I want to get rid of that pin. Once you have your fabric turned, you put your presser foot back down, and you can use the pedal slowly because I'm not going very far. And I'm going to repeat that. And if it's like really close, I just hand crank it. Yeah, and it's like right off the edge. So I'm actually going to back it up to the last one. Tighten it back up. Back down in there. Probably jack that all up. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it again. All right, now it's already down, so I'm going to just get rid of my needles so I don't stab myself. All right. I can cut off the beginning threads too. Okay. Foot back down and let her fly. Turn it, foot back down, finish it off, back it up, and I can just go off the edge, lift my needle, and end. Okay, so now I have my Velcro on my first piece. And again, my stitches aren't great, but it's going to be covered by the top. So I don't really care. You could go a whole lot slower, measure better, follow your guide if you cared. I don't care. So my first piece is done. I'm going to do the same thing to the second piece. So, you know, you don't need to see that because I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm just going to hem the edge that faces front. I'm not going to worry about the one that's behind. And then I'm going to put the Velcro along the top. When I get to the front panel, then we'll look at how I'm going to do that. So this is my facing the freezer, the left hand side. And I'm just going to hem the front edge of it. And apparently my machine came unthreaded on that last one. Got a little excited. Something's not going good. What? Oh, yep, I'm missing something here. Hang on. Something's not threaded right. I see it. This. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's like way not threaded right. Okay. Around there. This, and like that. There we go. Yeah, if you notice tension when you start, like it's straining, something's wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm doing this whole thing incorrect. All right. So I've got my two sides done, and I've got one side of my center panel hemmed. So now I'm going to go measure one more time. Actually, because I'm so not accurate, I think I'm gonna tweak how I do this. So let's go check that out and see what because I don't like to be precise. Not in stuff I don't, it's not my thing. But let's go check it out, how I'm going to do this without having to be completely precise on my hems.
Well, ain't that a cliffhanger? If you want to see how it all turns out, hit subscribe and the bell. Yep, you know how it goes. Yeehaw.